This is the only review you're ever going to need of the Minirig speakers, a portable Bluetooth and wired speaker that is made by DJs for DJs, and there's very few of these out there. Now, I have been using these for the last couple of months. As you can tell, I've gone completely native. We're on the road. I've not been in the office for 2 months, but I have been live streaming, I've been DJing, I've been doing my stuff out in the open air using these Minirig speakers. In fact, I've been using 3 of them for a full 2.1 system. Now, at home, I use DJ monitors. And what has surprised me the most about these is how close they get to using real hi-fi DJ monitors. So I want to talk to you about that in today's review here on Digital DJ Tips. If you find this useful, please do join Digital DJ Tips. Use the links to become the latest free member of our DJ training community. But if you want to have more videos like this, you can also subscribe. Click subscribe underneath. So let's talk about the speakers. They are a boutique company. They are a Bristol, UK based company who have been making these speakers for quite a number of years now. I had the very first one, which didn't even have Bluetooth on it, but they've developed, and this is actually the Minirig 3 that I've got in this case here. One of the nice things about these speakers is they come in a case, so it's actually made of hemp apparently, so it's all kind of eco-friendly. This is one of the speakers, and they have a set of screws. You can see there's 4 little padded feet on the bottom, and there's 4 of these screws that go all the way through the speaker, which end up at the bottom there. The speaker itself points upwards, so you can put this down like this, but also you can put it in any other location that you want. I've had them kind of jammed into things sideways and so on. They have a solid metal grill on the top, and they have 3 little sockets here. The 2 up and down are input sockets for the line input, which I'll talk to you about in a bit. The one in the middle is a proprietary socket for the provided charging cable. This is the charging cable. It's actually a piggyback cable, so one end plugs into here to charge the speaker, and the other end is where you plug into your source, but also then you can plug something else in as well. So you can charge your phone directly from the speaker using this. So it's a kind of nice dual purpose cable there, and that comes with the speaker. So you're going to get a line in cable, I'll show you that in a minute, and you're going to get a charging cable along with the case. It all comes in a cardboard case, which I obviously didn't bring on the road with me. These are really, really well made speakers. They aren't proofed, as in you can get water and dust in the top and so on. So some speakers nowadays, you can throw them in your swimming pool. They're not like that, but they are very, very well made. They're definitely splash resistant. They have one button at the top here, which is what you use to turn them on and off, and also you double tap, treble tap, and do all kinds of long hold and short hold on that one button to get the speaker to do what you want it to do. They do need you to read the instruction manual because they're a technical device. They're not designed for anyone to just get all the use out of them without understanding how they work. As in any piece of professional gear, you got to figure out how it works, you got to read the manual, but when you have, you'll realize that everything's been thought through really well. So they are a 2.1 system. So if you buy the full 2.1 system, there's a second one. That's the 2, your left and right. I'll talk to you about how you configure these in a minute, but this is the 0.1. This is the bass speaker. Now the bass speaker is interesting because this actually is always wired. You have to wire this into one of your other 2. Now bass is notoriously omnidirectional. You don't need 2 bass speakers, although you could have 2. One is fine, so it doesn't matter which of the other 2 speakers you plug it into, but you do need to plug it into one of them. So the bass speaker is where you're going to be using one of your wired cables. Again, it comes with a wired cable, and it comes with a charging cable, just like I've shown you for the other speaker. So what you're going to do to use the bass speaker, and I'll pull it out, but you don't actually have to. I'll pull it out, you'll see it's the same kind of configuration here. It's got the same single button here. No Bluetooth on this. As I say, it has to be wired. So you're going to plug this into here, and then you're going to plug that into one of your other speakers to get the bass to work on there. And so it's a lot simpler than the others, basically. But let's just talk now about the subwoofer and what it sounds like. It sounds absolutely awesome. You plug this in, and it just, especially if you put it on the floor, I found that setting these up, having these ones kind of near to your head, and this one on the floor next to you, just gives you that thump, and that's when you start to think these are sounding just like my studio speakers at home. But the beauty about it is you don't have to plug it in. So if you just want to use one of these for auditioning music or quickly listening to stuff, you don't have to plug that in at all. I'll talk to you a bit about modularity, a little bit more about modularity in a little while. So that's the bass speaker. So you can set these up as literally one speaker. You could set this one up with the second one and then have a stereo pair. You could add this and have a 2.1 pair. You can even then keep adding more of these. So in kind of party mode, like is all the rage with this kind of speaker if you look at other brands as well. So they've got that party mode as well with these. So lots and lots of ways of setting these up. The modular thing is kind of a feature of this. Whether you like that or not depends upon whether you just want one speaker to plug in and forget, or whether you like the idea of having a few cables, a bit of setting up, but then having it exactly how you want it. So let's talk about how you get these to do what you want them to do, because I've just shown you, this is the main speaker, the Minirig Mini 3. It's got nothing on it. So how do you control it? Well, two ways. You've got the button here. Now the button, it glows to start with to tell you how the battery is doing. And there's a set of colors it goes through. The battery lasts, they say, up to 100 hours. I'd say like 7 to 10 hours if you're using it at normal levels. 100 hours is very, very quiet. But the battery's great. They last a long time. So no complaints about the battery. So that's how you know how the battery is doing, by the color. If you tap this button once, it goes into what's called high gain mode. You tap it again, it goes into low gain mode. Low gain mode keeps all the speakers quiet, but it means you get better audio quality. High gain mode makes them loud, and they go really, really loud, but at a certain expense of some audio quality. And it will glow brighter or dimmer depending upon which mode you've got set, so that's where you've got it set without having to mess with the volume. There's no volume control on this, so the volume is the volume you put into it from your mixer or your controller, or indeed your phone if you're using it for Bluetooth. And this has a number of taps. So from memory, you tap it once to do that high gain, low gain thing. You hold it if you want to turn it on or off if you're using it just for Bluetooth. If you tap it twice, it will then help you to pair as a left-hand speaker with the other one in Bluetooth. Tap the other one 3 times, it pairs as a right-hand speaker with the left-hand one. You tap it 4 times, I think, and it starts to get into pairing other ones, or maybe not. Maybe that's just another 3 taps thing. But you've got to learn that stuff. You've got to figure that stuff out because the other way of controlling it is the app, and that means you've got to get the app out on your phone. We'll talk about the app in a minute, but it's definitely worth figuring out how all those button presses work to get everything working. So look, they sound great. They're really configurable. I've covered that. The build quality is good. They're very, very practical. They come with the cases and stuff, so you can keep them all in a big bag. I keep them in our live streaming bag, and we've got a video with me talking you through our whole DJ live streaming setup using these. So that's practical. They've been designed to be easily carried around on the road. These cases last forever, which is nice. They are expensive. This is a boutique speaker. If you want what I've got here, you're looking at 500 plus, which is not a small amount of money. That's part of the consideration when you're buying a boutique product. The app, we need to talk about the app. So the app is to me, it's a work in progress, and it always has been. It's a little bit clunky. I find that the communication between the app and the speakers, certainly when you're doing things like changing the name of the speaker, doesn't seem to work very well. Sometimes it won't even recognize the speakers, even though you've got them Bluetoothed into your phone, for instance, when you're just auditioning music. I find the app a little bit frustrating. It's usable, but it's not the best feature of these. Again, read the manual, learn all the button presses and so on. You probably won't really need the app very much. It has got some features like EQs. You can get the button to flash when you're listening to them and gimmicky things like that, but really you're not going to need the app very much. And just as well, it isn't the strong point of this speaker system. I think they should do a bit of work on the app. And it doesn't work very well on iPad either. So if you're like using your iPad as a streaming device, which I do, then you've got to put it in portrait mode, and it's that kind of like iPhone app that's been blown up and stuff. The app needs a little bit of work, so that's a downside of this. Another downside of this actually is the Bluetooth. Now these are very, very good wired. The reason these are very, very good wired is that when you wire them using the supplied cable, you get proper non-delayed audio. Now you'll be amazed how many speakers by JBL and Bose and all those big companies, even though they've got a wire going from your DJ gear to the speaker, they still have a delay, and that means it's impossible to DJ on them because you can't manually beat mix, and your headphones, that hi-hat is out of time with the one on here, and that is so infuriating. So even if you're using sync and waveforms and stuff, it's horrible DJing on most Bluetooth portable speakers because of that. These are a direct, immediate, no delay audio going into them. So therefore, that is a great part about these. And you can wire 2 of these together with the bass speaker, all with wires, all with the supplied cables, and then you just need that one cable from your DJ gear to one of these, and you're off with a full wired system for DJing. Really, really important. The wired bit works really well. Bluetooth, it's okay. I use it, so with one speaker, it's fine. So I use it on Spotify and just to listen to music and audition music and so on. With one speaker, it's fine. I found that as soon as you pair up another speaker, The other speaker tends to cut out for half a second every now and then. Not always, but sometimes. And obviously that's really, really annoying. And combining that with the lack of immediate, reliable communication between the app and the speakers in Bluetooth, it's not the strongest point of these speakers. You're buying these because they're a very good wired speaker, and a wired speaker is what you need for DJing. And the charging, another down point, while we're just looking at the things that maybe are not so good about these, it's a proprietary cable. This isn't a micro USB or mini USB or whatever they call it. It's not a USB-C, it's not a Lightning, or it won't be a Lightning, of course, because it's not Apple. But you get what I'm saying. This is a proprietary thing. So if you lose that cable or it breaks or whatever, you've got to get another one. And talking about the cables, these ones are all right. These ones that they provide are okay, but they're not the best for plugging the speakers into each other or into anything else that you want to listen to from, and they're not the longest either. So especially if you want to get the speakers wide apart and wired, you might want to start replacing those, and I don't think they would last forever either. So let's conclude about the Minirig 2.1 setup. So a couple of these and one of these. It's a good wired DJ speaker, and that in itself is hard to find. As I've been saying, most wired speakers, the boom boxes of this world, the party boxes of this world, don't give you delay-free DJing with a wire, and that is a deal breaker. These are made by DJs for DJs, so they're always adding features and thinking about what DJs want. They've even got a load of mixes on SoundCloud that you can access in the app. Again, do you really need that in an app? I don't know, but it just shows that they've got DJs at heart, which is a nice thing. You know, a boutique company thinking about DJs with the gear they make. We love that kind of stuff. They could, and I really mean this, be used as your only speaker. If you've got this set up, you could have this set up in your bedroom or in your studio at home or wherever you work, and these could be the only speaker you ever need, because the sound quality is good enough with a full 2.1 setup to rival decent small near field monitors. That's how good these sound, and yet they still go pretty loud. This setup I've got here is plenty loud enough to annoy an awful lot of people if you're DJing, you're live streaming outdoors or whatever. The modular thing, well, that's going to depend on you. To me, this is really cool because I can set up 1, 2 or all 3 of them depending on what I need. To other people, just to plug a wire in and go is probably less hassle, and of course you've got to remember to charge all 3 and all that kind of stuff. In truth, we don't know any better portable, Bluetooth and wired battery loudspeaker for DJs than the Minirigs. They're not cheap, but because they've got that latency-free wired, because they are really, really well made and they won't let you down, because they come with cases that don't break, because they're configurable in all kinds of ways, which is useful to you. If you're a professional who, for whatever reason, needs a very small, very portable, rechargeable speaker system to DJ with, and in our case, it's because we live stream in places like this. We're in the middle of the plain in Spain at the moment. Then there is nothing better out there. Yes, you'll pay for it, but I think it's worth it. So that's the digital DJ tips look at the Minirig Mini 3 speaker and the Minirig subwoofer, which they sell as one complete setup, as one complete 2.1 setup on their website. I've linked to their website in the main review, where you'll also find prices and more information about these speakers. As I said, if you've liked this and you like what you see on Digital DJ Tips, we'd love you to become our latest member. Go to digitaldjtips.com/join. It's free. Let us help you to become a better DJ or a better DJ producer. But meanwhile, this is Phil Moore saying, get good, get out there, make the moments, and I'll see you for another review very soon.